Breaking news. Housing starts coming in at 1.21 million, topping estimates, by the way, just a little bit of a beat there. But topping estimates, and June was also revised up by 0.2%. All right, let's bring in Jason Meister, Avison Young Vice President, and Katrina Campins, the Campins company founder. Jason, can you make some sense of this? Is this a good number on the housing market in the U.S.?
It's a good number, but I think what you're seeing is that it's still not meeting the demand. The housing starts are up really on multifamily and apartment building because the rental market is really going through a major upswing. So I think it's not meeting the demand, but there's still a lot of concerns out there on the overall health of the housing market.
Katrina, we got some numbers out from Home Depot this morning that were a little bit better than expected, and they're attributing their stronger results to an improvement in the housing market. So are things pointing to a better picture for U.S. housing right now?
Yes, and I agree with everything that was said. In fact, the demand is there, but the inventory is so low that prices are going up, and they're really rising much faster than wages are rising. So that's why so many builders are very optimistic. I think even with these numbers, the builder supply is still 5.4 months, which is not healthy enough. It should be a 6-month supply. And also the rental market, the rent prices are just getting astronomical, which is why these builders are also moving ahead and building more multifamily. And, you know, the Home Depot numbers make absolute sense because I'm seeing it on a day-to-day basis where buyers are not finding what they want, so they're willing to basically buy something and renovate it to their taste.
Sandra, I find it fascinating that we're talking about 0.2%, and that's, oh my gosh, there's a rebound in the housing market. What are you finding? I mean, you're in this business. I know in New Hampshire and in New England in particular, the zoning regulations, the permitting process is so long and delayed that a lot of builders can't build those multifamilies. They can't do that affordable housing unit where there is a great demand because in New Hampshire, 50% of people's income goes to housing. Yep. So, and there's not a heck of a lot left over to basically live. So what are you finding in terms of the zoning, permitting, and other challenges that builders are facing? You're
100% correct, and you have too much regulation on these builders, and they're building rental housing because that's what's out there. People that are starting their new household formations are up. They're renting. They're not buying. These millennials are renting longer. I mean, the rental market in New York City is ridiculous right now.
It's incredible.
It would take the salary of a U.S. president to afford a two-bedroom in Tribeca.
No,
it's insane.
Right. Yeah. What do you think happens? Let's say that we're right on interest rates and they start to make new all-time lows. Do you think that the demand piece could create the next housing bubble because you have the rental component of the millennial community of demand, plus you have people just say, wow, this is my second shot?
I think you've had a bubble actually starting to already get created. These things are 7-8 year things, and we're already almost 8 years into this, and you've had federal monetary policy keeping interest rates extremely low, which has created asset bubbles. I mean, we're selling land in Manhattan right now over $1,500 per square foot. It's incredible. You have to sell for $5,000.
In all these areas around the country, Miami may be a bubble, New York City may be a bubble, but in all these areas where there hasn't been wage growth in this country, you have not seen home prices keep up. There are no bubbles. People are not moving. Only just now you're starting to see a lot of existing homes coming on the market because they're not underwater anymore.
Right. And the U6 real unemployment, which is the number that I look at, the 5.4 or 5.5% is nonsense.
Fallacy,
It's 10.4% real unemployment in this country, and that's why people they pay for homes with their jobs.
No, absolutely right. I mean, and what about the fact that you have millennials living at home, have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt in some instances, and then you have parents moving back with their kids.
And that's a great point because, Katrina, looking into the future, there is a change in the psychology of the current millennial generation and to buy or not to buy.
Absolutely, and a lot of them do not have enough money to put as a down payment, so their parents are actually even moving back in with them and taking over the mortgages or giving them a loan. I'm seeing a lot of that in Miami, especially with the college students here or the med students. Their parents are actually helping them buy an apartment rather than those individuals actually renting. But, you know, on a day-to-day basis, the biggest frustration in this market is inventory. And I have so many buyers that want to take advantage of the low mortgage rates, and they just can't find the right property. And for instance, yesterday I just put a rental on the market, and today I have 8 showings, and they're like vultures on these properties. That just shows you that there's not a lot of inventory. Same thing with houses. If a house is priced right, way, you're getting multiple offers, which we haven't seen in years.
The only other concern I want to raise is that China's currency was devalued last week.
Yep. Good point.
Houses have become 2% more expensive to the Chinese. And I think that's going to start to suck some of that overseas capital back into China. And they've been a big part of our housing
Well,
food
that hurts
chain.
New York.
Especially
It hurts Miami. But
And San Francisco.
If
right.
you live in the hinterlands, people don't care.
I'm still stuck on Katrina saying parents are helping kids buy houses.
That's always been the case in New York City. That has always been the case in New York
I'll
City.
put it up on Twitter. I have a chart that's called the bubble in basement dwellers.
Anybody I know who bought an apartment in New York City under the age of 35 got a big chunk of change from their parents to do it.
All right, Jason Meister, thank you. And
Thanks for
Katrina
having me.
Campins, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank
Good stuff.
you.
Up